Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daddy's Game Time, your friendly show about gaming, movies, and pop culture. Today, we wish the Nintendo 64 a very, very happy birthday. Actually, today is September 30th, 2016. Yesterday, what was its 20th year anniversary, North American release, of course. So one more year and the N64 will be able to drink alcohol here in the United States. Hoorah for that. So let me give you a little bit of info, a little bit of background on the N64 and a little bit of personal experience while I play this classic game, Wave Race 64. Now, little disclaimer here, I have never played this game before. It's one of the all-time great games, so I've heard, and I've never actually played it. Whoa, look at this guy. He looks like Master Chief. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. So yes, September 29th, 1996 was the official release date in North America for the N64, previously codenamed the Ultra 64. It was released, and in its first 4 months of release, it sold approximately 500,000 units, which at the time outsold its competition, which was the Sony PlayStation and the Sega Saturn, which was out at the time. We all know eventually the PlayStation ended up outselling the N64. And the Sega Saturn almost put Sega out of the business for sure. I think it was a big reason for their demise, but that's another story. We're talking about Nintendo 64 right now. The Nintendo 64, fond memories of it. I remember I had pre-ordered the N64 when it was about to be released, and it got sold out in my region. I live in California, and in my particular region, there was just nowhere to be. It was nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be found. Especially for a person like me at the time, which I was a teenager, didn't have a car. I didn't have much means to just be kind of getting around. Around my entire area. I just had like 3 stores that I could really depend on walking to in order to make my N64 purchase. So it was a little difficult for me to just be going to all these different stores and get it right at launch. I ended up getting it like a month or 2 after the console launched, which was a very, very exciting time for me and my friends, because we were just so stoked about Super Mario 64. There was no doubt in my mind that was the game I wanted to get. I had played the demos at the kiosks. A kiosk specifically, I remember, was the one at a Sears store, and they had the demo for Super Mario 64. We had played through a couple of the levels there, and it was fantastic. It was great times. Now, eventually, the library of the N64, it was not as huge in terms of quantity as there was for the Sony PlayStation. However, what I did like was that it had lots of quality. I mean, Nintendo at the time, yes, you could argue they made a mistake by going with the cartridge format at the time instead of going with the disc format, which allowed for more flexibility for both the developers of video games and also for just ease of use. I think that was one of the things that helped Sony become who they are. And it affected Nintendo a little bit in terms of the relationships with some of the third parties. And so that's part of the story. And but let's go back to launch here. During the launch, the Nintendo 64 only launched with two, count them, two, that's two, dos, two games. And those two games were Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings 64. I cannot remember what Pilot Wings was about, except for I think it was some sort of like a flight simulator of some sort. I'm not sure. You let me know down in the comments if you know exactly what that is. I'll probably be doing some research later on about it. But the N64 had a lot of great titles. One of my personal favorites, Ocarina of Time, which was from the Legend of Zelda series. It's widely regarded as one of the best titles ever in game history. We have the great THQ wrestling games that were released, both for WCW brand and WWF brand at the time. Now they're known as WWE, of course. So we have those, which I regard as the best wrestling games of all time. I just enjoy those much more than the current WWE games that are released on the newer platforms. And I don't know, it just had a big fun factor to it. There were lots of other games that I have fond memories of, like F-Zero. A lot of people probably didn't enjoy this game as much as I did, but Cruis'n USA, NFL Blitz, the Turok, the Dinosaur Hunter games, the I know I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, Quarterback Club. I own Quarterback Club still. It's somewhere in my storage bin. But these are all games that I ended up loving that were on N64. Of course, there's the more popular ones, the GoldenEye 007, Perfect Dark. We have the, let me think, Banjo-Kazooie. We got the Donkey Kongs. We got the Pokemons. We got all of the great Nintendo franchises on there. I think the only franchise that really didn't make an appearance during this era, the N64 era, was Samus and Metroid. That's the title. I told you I had to get distracted while playing video games, didn't I? Well, maybe not in this one, but in other videos I always give off that little bit of a disclaimer as well. Maybe I should be paying attention to what I'm doing here in terms of the gameplay, because I don't think I'm getting anywhere with Wave Race. But yeah, it's just something I wanted to talk about. I want to congratulate Nintendo. If Nintendo, you're watching, congratulations on N64. I'm actually playing this game right now on my original N64, which still works, by the way, which is awesome. Nintendo was known and is still known for making great quality products that are built to last. My launch edition N64, you can see here, I still have the original controller that it came with in the box, and it still works. Nintendo, that's awesome. Keep the quality coming on your games, and never stop giving us good quality entertainment, especially on the eve of the NX. I know Nintendo is facing a lot of pressure to do something that's very similar to what the other companies are doing, such as Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. But I think what makes Nintendo and what gives them that magic is the fact that they always have something new to bring to the table. As we saw with Mario 64, they were the first to really make 3D games function. You know, before that, we never had real 3D games that felt good playing. They were always kind of clumsy and slow, and they just never felt right until Nintendo gave us the magic of this controller with this joystick, and it just started making gaming a lot more fun again for everybody. Yes, this style of controller is outdated by today's standards, but at the time, nobody else was doing 3D like Nintendo was doing 3D, and so Nintendo, that was awesome. I enjoy every single moment with the N64 back then and even now. So I just want to, again, congratulations, Nintendo. Thank you very much for the fond memories. Thank you for that era that was N64 versus PlayStation. And until next time, I just want to remind you, you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and also on Twitch. You can check us out at our individual handles. Francisco at FC0 Romero, myself, Leo at Planet Leo, and Rick at Rikudo Naso. Enjoy your games and love your families.